Barbie. Barbie is a movie that leaves you a little bit puzzled. It kind of starts like a caricature of feminist movies, but it is in fact a radical feminist movie itself. Although we can debate the terminology, since the definition of this word in most of the dictionaries is quite different from the understanding of modern so called feminists. I'm not sure that the idea that you should fight for more and more privileges for women and publicly berate men because they are inferior human beings should be called feminism. It is something else. And Barbie is standing tall for this something else. So naturally, this film is incredibly and unbearably political, which is an interesting twist because you are being lectured by a movie about a doll for little girls produced by a multinational corporation. Actually, making a movie adaptation of the Barbie doll may sound like a weird idea in the first place, because it is a weird idea. But then again, after they've made a film adaptation of Battleship, well, nothing really can surprise you anymore. The reviews in the mainstream and mainstream adjacent media are generally positive because they are supposed to promote this product and the product's message. Come on, even Google promotes this movie. If you type Barbie into the search, you'll have a pink background, sparkles, and all that stuff. The alternative media obviously loves to hate Barbie and describes it as the worst thing ever. Well, it is not as over the top atrocious as some people say. It is just, regular amount atrocious. It just calls for gender wars and probably some genocide. But that's practically the new normal for the modern Hollywood. And I've said before this is the film that leaves you puzzled. Not only for the above mentioned reasons, but also, the team of the filmmakers apparently genuinely believes that it is a proper feminist women empowering picture. I watched some of the interviews, and that's just hilarious. Here's a couple of quotes for you.
It's feminist in a way that includes everyone. It's like it's a rising tide lifts all boats version of it.
Anyone who believes men and women should be equal is
It's
feminist.
it's that simple.
But I think some people hear the word feminist and associate a lot of negative baggage with the word.
Yeah, feminist in a way it includes everyone. And then it portrays 100% of men in the movie as inferior subhumans who should be marginalized and oppressed. Naturally, this idea is not very well thought out, and somewhere halfway through the movie, the script gets lost inside the labyrinth of its own discriminatory and hateful ideas and eventually resolves with nothing. Well, with an establishment of a cartoonish tyranny of women and with a visit to gynecologist after a long and pointless dialogue with a long dead old woman. The plot of the film goes kinda like this. Barbies live in a parallel fantasy world, where women, Barbies, can be anyone they want, they are all perfect even if they are morbidly obese, and so on. Their male counterparts, Kens, are imbecilic half animals. It is obviously a metaphor. I mean, the screenwriters literally say that the Barbie world is the polar opposite of the real world. Same thing, but with genders swapped. Meaning that in the real world, males build some kind of a utopia for themselves, while females are degraded to a state when they are a type of furniture. Which is simply not true. You can spend a really long time discussing how fundamentally untrue it is, but you're debating with a movie about a toy, and with a morally bankrupt Hollywood personalities who are eager to increase their social credit no matter what. Since the script has a number of serious problems even with basic logic, later the film kind of retracts this statement about the polar opposite of the real world. At the end of the movie, they introduce the new polar opposite, with genders reversed one more time, and announce it using practically the same vocabulary. That's just crazy. This inability to use logic makes you think that the script was written by a woman. Just kidding. Actually, it was written by a woman and a subhuman male unit. Okay, so in the end, Barbies create a new iteration of the inverted world. And this version is not much better than the first. All males, Kens, in this Barbie world are now an oppressed group that has some kind of low-level representation, but are not allowed to hold any positions of importance in the government and just summarily discriminated against based on their gender. Once again, this new order, this new gender reversal, supposedly mimics the real world as the screenwriters perceive it. They actually think that women in the real world are a systematically oppressed and discriminated group treated as subhumans, which is, again, not very accurate to say the least. It is probably half accurate for Saudi Arabia, but let's be honest, it is not Barbie's primary market, and there is a huge probability that Barbie is gonna be banned in the Middle East. During the course of the movie, the main character, the stereotypical Barbie, travels to the real world with her Ryan Gosling friend, so that she could find the owner of the real world Barbie doll, of which she is a parallel universe manifestation. Don't overthink this. Ryan Gosling immediately learns about oppressive patriarchy, literally buys books on the subject, and exports toxic masculinity to the Barbie world. Starts a revolution, brainwashes all the Barbies, and stuff like that. Stereotypical male behavior, according to the filmmakers, is drinking beer and being a fan of big cars and horses, and whining, and not reading books. I actually don't quite get this stereotype of toxic masculinity, which might be a cultural thing. I mean, why horses? Is this an American thing or an Arabian thing? Not reading books and a fan of horses sounds like a description of a peasant. Why would I want to be a peasant? Peasants are gross. Obviously, all this struggle against oppressive patriarchy, because, oppressive patriarchy is a thing. All of this is simply weird and self-contradictory. Inferior males somehow brainwash superior females, then woke females use outright manipulation to disrupt their society, and this is presented as a virtuous behavior. And stupid inferior males like to sing Push by Matchbox 20 all the time, which probably has some symbolic meaning, which I cannot quite grasp. Because Push is a song about a manipulative, toxic girlfriend, which means either that the screenwriters don't understand the meaning of the song, they think it's about a manipulative boyfriend, or they actually understand the meaning of the song and make fun of men who think that they were manipulated by females, because they kind of deserve this. And the film actually shows us that women absolutely must manipulate men. Or the screenwriters register that this song embodies the whining of men about the things they imagine, but don't really happen in reality. And then, once again, they explicitly show us manipulation as something good. Or they use this song ironically, because this is the song about manipulation, and that's what happens on the screen. I just don't know. And I'm afraid the screenwriters don't know either. So what have we learned from Barbie? It is okay to manipulate men, because they deserve this. Men are inferior to women in every aspect imaginable, including sports. Gender wars is an actual thing, and we need to turn it into an open conflict with guns and concentration camps. Beating your wife is okay, because otherwise she might start manipulating you. The right of women to vote should be revoked because they want to establish a totalitarian regime based on superiority of females over males. In the end, The situation is a bit analogous to The Little Mermaid or Peter Pan and Wendy, in the sense that it is not advisable to show any of these movies to children. It is yet another fundamentally weird and fundamentally wrong movie that tries to deliver a very inappropriate and disgusting message from the position of moral superiority. This message is delivered by morally bankrupt Hollywood and multinational corporations. And their real message usually is not feminism or diversity or social justice. No, their real message most of the time is we've been screwing you and will keep screwing you in new and interesting ways. What they are insinuating is that women are vile, malevolent creatures who should be oppressed with full force and deprived of all human rights. And this is not true. What they show us is not feminism. This is war, mutual hatred, and collapse of civilization.